Hello and welcome to a gameplay for all seasons. On today's video, I want to round up all of the latest news that we've had on Hogwarts Legacy. Now, we've entered a fairly, what I would describe as interesting time in the life cycle of the development of this game, which if you think back right to the beginning, obviously we had the leak, and then after the leak it was a long time, that was right at the end of the year, it was a long time before we heard it was official, and there were very few people who were kind of still talking about the game and there was nothing going on. Then we had the trailer and obviously there was a lot of excitement at the time, and then for a long time we didn't hear anything at all. However, now there is actually a few little tidbits and pieces of news coming through on almost a bit of a regular basis now, which if you have been keeping your ear very close to what's happening with Hogwarts Legacy, then you may well know all this. But perhaps you're interested in my opinion, and I'd be interested in yours if you want to put it in the comments. Else, if you haven't been looking for constant updates on this game, perhaps some of this you may not be familiar with. Now, the interesting thing, I think, of all these little pieces, if you put them together, it does begin to paint a picture of where this game is and when we might hear something new about it. If you want to stay up with all the latest news, general discussion, all those good things, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's dive straight into this video. So there are a few items I want to discuss. The very first one that I'm going to start with is the leak from Millie A. Now, this, if you're not familiar with it, was a tweet that this particular Twitter person responded to when saying that they expect there will be a new update for Hogwarts Legacy in October. If not October, then in the Game Awards. Now, when I initially hear that, I think to myself, okay, well, that's kind of hedging your bets because there's a lot of time in October. Game Awards is a big event, so yes, it makes sense to say that. However, the more you read into this person, and actually if you go through their Twitter feed, you can see this person seems to be quite accurate with these sort of things. And the general consensus around the internet is that this person can be trusted. So I have no reason to doubt that it probably either will be October or it will be the Game Awards. Now we're getting more and more through October, which feels less and less that we're going to get something there. So it potentially could be the Game Awards where we get an update. Now, this person has been very clear that this may be the intention of the studio to release something at these two times. However, it depends if the assets are ready, which they may not be ready for the Game Awards. However, it does seem most likely if we are going to get an update, it would be there. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is news we've had in the last few days, which is there is a studio who has now become involved in the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy game. According to their tweet, they have been working with Warner Brothers for a little while, obviously Avalanche Software. This studio, Studio Gobo or Gobbo, depending on how you're supposed to pronounce it, may not immediately be familiar to you. However, they have been involved in a variety of large games and seem to be the sort of studio that another studio, for example Avalanche Software, would get in to help and speed along the process, which seems to be what's happened here. It's very interesting. This just come out on the 14th of October. It's interesting they've taken time to announce this because that suggests the game is obviously moving forward, which I will just take a second to say. There is quite a lot of comments I see saying this game is doomed, this game is not happening, etc, etc. That isn't the case. Okay, this game is coming out, it is happening, it's just taking a while to get there. Which moves me on to the third piece of news I wanted to talk about, which is there is actually a professional version of the Internet Movie Database, and they do actually report on more things than just movies. And they have on there the status for various other things, such as games. So on there, they have the status for Hogwarts Legacy. And fairly recently, Hogwarts Legacy has moved into post-production. So what does that mean? That means that they are no longer writing the story. They are no longer coming up with new concepts and new ideas. They have completed the essence of the game. Now, what they're doing now, so the post-production bit, is essentially polishing the game. Now, polishing the game can take a long time. A year is potentially something that could be the case. However, if you think where we are in the year, if we go a year out, that would still be towards the end of 2022 and is a likely window for when this game may release. So the next thing I wanted to talk about then is the Warner Brothers email we had in September. So the September update email that come out created a lot of excitement at the time because within there, you got to the bottom and it said coming soon and you had Hogwarts Legacy. Now, that is fairly wide known that we had that. However, the thing that hasn't been so widely discussed since that is we have actually had another Warner Brothers email that's come out for October and what's coming in October. And the interesting thing about that, if you haven't heard this, is that the coming soon Hogwarts Legacy did not appear on that email. In fact, absolutely nothing on Hogwarts Legacy appeared on the email. They had a picture at the top You could be mistaken with something to do with Hogwarts Legacy. However, it is actually a still from Wizards Unite, so it's nothing to do with Hogwarts Legacy. There was actually nothing on October at all about Hogwarts Legacy, which to me suggests we're not getting anything in October either, which again, if we put it together with the first thing we mentioned on this, then that would suggest it is most likely the Game Awards where we are going to get something. Now, of course, that is, as I said, very dependent whether all the assets are ready to get shown at that time, but I am kind of expecting that is the time they are aiming for. That is the event they're aiming for. Now, it may not be. This was obviously shown in a Sony event when we first got the trailer, so it could be we're going to have a Sony event before the end of the year, and it could be Hogwarts Legacy that we'll see. But what it does mean, when you put all this together, there are things coming out. There are studios working on it. The game is progressing into post-development. We will be getting an update at some point. We have reliable leakers telling us we're going to get things soon. So you should most definitely keep your eyes and ears out to see what's going to happen with this game in the very near future. Good way to do that, subscribe on this channel. We'll keep you up to date. Don't forget to like this if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next video.